Good morning, afternoon, evening, night, whenever you decide to watch this. Obviously, a lot has changed since the last time that we met a couple weeks ago. The entirety of this class will now be done online, distance learning. We're not going to be going back to class to go over lectures, discussions, that type of thing in person. So I'm going to do my best to adjust the class to the reality that everybody's going to be going through it at home. There's going to be some changes, but overall, the content is going to be the same. I'm going to do a lot less talking, rely on the PowerPoints, the videos, and then I will do a video like this each chapter at the beginning of the week to kind of touch on some of the high points. My expectation is that you watch this video because I'll lay out some things for the assignment and the discussion groups, which we'll talk about a little bit coming up here. But my hope is for all of you that you are beginning to adjust to this present environment that we are in, the social distancing, which is something that didn't really exist a month ago, and then how it's going to adjust for both your learning and then the future of sales, specifically to this class. So we're going to spend this week kind of looking still at chapter 7, kind of easing back into this semester in the class, give you a week to kind of get a feel for what this new format will look like for this class. So I'm not going to go over any new material. I uploaded chapter 7's PowerPoint. You can use that, go through it if you weren't in class, and use that for the assignments and the discussions that we're having. But overall, this week is going to be kind of a focus on, all right, what does business look like, and specifically sales look like in today's environment, where businesses are forced to close or there's no face-to-face interaction. What companies are positioned well to adjust in this environment? What companies or types of companies are going to really struggle, potentially go out of business? What does life look like for these? Businesses have to adjust. You as students have to adjust. This is completely different, right? I know I had never used Zoom as a platform, or even Microsoft Teams as a platform to meet over video. And now over the last week, I've used those. I've used Google Hangout. I've used all these platforms I've never used before. You're probably in the same boat as that. But think about it this way. In 6 months, you could be doing a job interview over Zoom for a company, not located in Iowa, or instead of traveling to meet with somebody, the business or company that you work for may have you do a video call. I think that this type of medium or ways to connect is going to, because of this COVID pandemic, is going to become more and more popular. People are going to see that it does work to do video calls, and we're going to see more of that and less of travel. So this is going to impact me. I'll probably be doing a lot more of these in my business world. So the people and the students that can be flexible, if you're able to adjust to this type of format, this is just going to set you up that much better for your future. I strongly suggest and urge you to embrace this. It's going to be challenging. It's going to require more accountability for yourself. You're going to have to stay dedicated. You're going to really have to schedule out times to do homework, to view PowerPoints, to really focus on learning, because you don't have that dedicated class time. And I remember as a college student, this would have been incredibly challenging for me. It's easy to get distracted. It's easy to sit down and watch Netflix for 10 hours, stream 7 episodes of Tiger King, and pound through that in a day instead of opening up your computer or your iPad and going over work. So I strongly suggest and urge you that you stay dedicated to that and find the time to do this assignment. Now, how our class structure is going to change, I sent out an email, I updated the syllabus, there's an announcement on Blackboard, but I'm going to hit on some of the high levels with you. So we no longer will have a second exam. Instead, we are doing a quiz at the end of each chapter set. So I've got chapters 7 and 8 as a pair and 9 and 10 as a pair. There'll be a 15 question quiz through Blackboard that you can use your notes, PowerPoints, whatever, but it is timed. You only have 30 minutes to complete. So there'll be 2 more quizzes. Second, we'll have an assignment after each chapter. Those are going to be based on either the book. At the end of each chapter, there's an assignment that's in the textbook, or I'll come up with my own assignment. So for this week, it's an assignment based on, all right, what companies are changing? What do you see out there from a business and sales perspective that's different than what it was 3 weeks ago? And then the third area, which is probably the biggest change and the most important to pay attention to, is the discussion forums. So each set of chapters, chapter 7 and 8 and 9 and 10, there'll be a 2-week period of time. Each chapter is going to cover 1 week. There'll be a discussion group. So in the first week, you have to come up with an original content, comment, paragraph on the discussion topic. So, this week's discussion topic is on objections and price. So you need to come up with your own 100, 200 word response to the question. And that could include, maybe you find a web article or a YouTube video or something, and you post that and you comment on why this applies to that topic. So that's part 1 of the discussion group. Part 2 is after students have gone through, your classmates have gone through and made their original comments, their original posts relative to the question. Now you need to go in and read those comments and post responses to at least 2 of them. And responses need to be adding value, thought out. It can't just be a simple 1-sentence response. And then, so kind of build on that discussion, the comments, the ideas that other students are bringing. Make sure that you focus on grammar, punctuation. I would recommend you typing them up in a Microsoft Word document or something similar. Spell check, grammar check, punctuation. Make sure that it's professional. And then I'm going to go through and kind of moderate the discussion and score you based on your involvement and your feedback and your willingness to share. So a lot of the points that would have come from the exam are now going to be implemented into that discussion area. And I'll also add some extra credit opportunities in that as well. So that's going to take a lot more of your time, but you again, aren't going to class twice a week. So you have the PowerPoint, the kind of the lecture, my video, that would replace probably 1 class period. The discussion group forum should replace that 2nd class period. So that's going to, an hour and a half of time. So I expect you to spend an hour and a half or 2 hours of time. This class in general has not a lot of homework. So, you got to now focus in on this discussion group. And then we'll, next week I'll have a video on how we're going to do the last 2 role plays. We will still do them. The final will be done either video recorded or a live Zoom, FaceTime, something similar with me or somebody else. But we'll work that out next week. So if you have any questions on any of that, please let me know. Shoot me a text, email. We can do a FaceTime, a Zoom meeting, whatever. Happy to help in any way I can. I'm not going anywhere. I'm self-isolated in my house, so fully available at pretty much any time. Now things are kind of crazy at my house. I'm working from home. My wife, as a teacher, is working from home, doing distance learning for her students. My 3rd and 1st grader are taking classes from the living room. Our internet is stretched to thin. We have to kind of pick who's on the internet at any given time based on the speed. So life is crazy here. I'm sure it's very similar to you as well. So, as I've mentioned a couple times, this week, look at what companies are adapting and changing their business model and changing how they sell to customers. One that I've seen, obviously, are bars and restaurants. So the favorite bar that my wife and I go to, the Bartender's Handshake on Ingersoll in Des Moines. It's a new one. It opened in October. Really small, craft cocktails, that type of thing. Obviously, they're hurt really bad by this not being able to be open. So they're selling cocktail mixes to go. So on Friday, I picked up their signature drink. Came in 2 mason jars with the like airplane shots next to it. Got home, mixed them, that type of thing. So I have adjusted their sales philosophy. I know a lot of restaurants, bars are doing the same thing. Now, obviously, we'll see how long that lasts because they can't be making money. Hopefully, they can generate enough interest and survive this. But another month of shutdown, as we see, is coming for sure. Restaurants and bars are going to really be challenged. Delivery companies, I signed up for Instacart for the first time this week to get groceries delivered. Never have done that in the past. That's a company that is positioned really well for this type of pandemic. Other companies, I follow a company called Picky Bars, which we'll probably look at in a next chapter because it fits really well with some of the things I like about this company. But they do prepackaged oatmeal, energy bars, and it's all delivery service. They're based in Bend, Oregon. I get a shipment every month of energy bars and granola and oatmeal. Obviously, a company like that works really well in this when everyone's staying home and looking for ways to not go to the grocery store, not go out, and have stuff shipped directly to their house. So, that's a company that's doing really well. Now look at the travel industry, airlines, hotels, resorts, entertainment, music. All of those are really struggling in this. I've seen concerts on Facebook. On Saturday, I watched 2 different concerts for musicians, a jazz musician and a cover band. Two different concerts from their houses or their venues that are empty, done online. Ways to get us through this. So there's companies that are going to do really well. There's companies that are going to be completely put on pause. But as sales professionals, how do we look for ways to change that? And one area is focus on cost savings. How can we save companies that we're selling to money? It may be that our product improves efficiencies so that they can reduce waste somewhere else. We may be able to change the way that they advertise. Or I read an article about a guy that worked at Yahoo back in 2001 and on the sales side, the advertising side, and when the stock market or the .com boom crashed, these big companies were looking for ways to advertise in a more cost-effective way. Well, Yahoo was implementing web-based digital advertising, which was way cheaper. So because of a crazy economic downturn, they were able to do really well because they changed their sales model, their advertising to large companies. So I challenge you to kind of take a look at that, see if you can find some articles, blog posts by sales professionals, that type of thing to help with the assignment and the discussion group. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.